Welcome, everybody. Today, I'm going to be talking about being agile with my very good friend, Mr. Bode Olashege. And being agile is something that is close to my heart these days. And I'm so happy to have him here because it was one of those that made me do Scrum, which is one of the agile frameworks. And I'm so happy that we'll be talking about that today. And before I ask him some questions about this framework and other frameworks that are dear to him, I want him to first talk to us, tell us about himself. Mr. Bodi, can you just tell my viewers about yourself?
Thank you for that a little bit of intro there. My name is Bode Olashege. About myself, that actually dates back in terms of who I am. Agile enthusiast, and obviously my career actually kickstarts because I have that background in the pharmaceutical sector as a pharmacist. And how did I end up working within the agile environment? Yeah, while working in one of the chemists, which is community pharmacy, usually we have some clients, they come on board, they come to the site, they're trying as much as possible to optimize the processes that we have. And I'm always very available. I've always been putting them through in terms of the pharmaceutical within the community pharmacy. And I say, okay, this is a process, that's a process, especially working within the electronic prescription for the NHS. And one of the essays, solution architect, came around and said, why not? I mean, you sound more knowledgeable in terms of processes. Have you really thought about going into career like a business analyst? Then I jumped at it. So to fast forward, I started as a business analyst. Then from there, I progressed straight into Scrum Master within the IT sector. And then I started moving up the ladder from Scrum Master, working as the delivery manager, into I found myself within the SAFE, which is the Scaled Agile Framework environment, working as the release train engineer. So my function actually is about agile delivery, product delivery consultant, and which I am also solution-driven digital product management with over 10 years of experience now altogether within the digital experience of all business activities, integrating into multiple customer lifestyle, delivering strategic digital transformation solutions. So I've involved in multiple digital transformation, which I'm also happy to say that I've provided informed decisions and delivering that value, quality value, on-time value to our end customers. And it's also my great pleasure to say that that has really bring about an increase in overall return on investment to our clients that I've actually worked with previously. And there's that client retention focus on the digitization of the end-to-end process of the automation, and also improving the customer experience across multiple digital channels. And here I am as an agilist, supporting multiple organizations to actualize their request, their dream, and also their need, which I am very fulfilled that I'm working in a field that I can say, yes, I am passionate about.
That's interesting. I like the way you've been able to tell us about yourself and how you became passionate, how you got involved with this framework, and then just meeting someone that introduced you to this framework is very, very amazing. How one person can really change our life. And I also want to say that this Agile framework, especially Scrum, which I recently did, and I became a professional Scrum Master as a person, is very important for everybody. Even if you are not working as a Scrum Master, you'd learn a lot to use the framework. You can even decide to use Jira, which we might also have time to talk about. Even if you're an academic, you are a banker, as long as you are working with teams, you can always use the framework, and it's very, very amazing what people can achieve with the framework. But dwelling on that, I just want to ask a question. What is the advantage of an individual or a team becoming agile?
Wow, that's a very good question as well. There are a lot of advantages of individual or a team becoming agile. There are a lot of, for instance, looking at the end user, looking at the end goal. Who are we delivering for within the agile sector? We are delivering for the end user, and the ulterior motive is satisfying the customer need, and also by involving those customers in the development process. You have the opportunity to involve them within the development process, what goes on at the end to end, as well as the end user have the opportunity to come in to have a view at the review session, which is also called the demo session, which is one of the ceremonies within the Scrum. The customers, they have the opportunity to have that show and tell, to have a view, and there's that feedback mechanism. So they can always give feedback in terms of how their expectations and how what they're expecting within 2 weeks or a 4-week period, depending on the timeline for that iteration. So outside of that, there is an improved quality. Is a quality inbuilt, because as those minimum viable products are being developed, there's also quality input in those solutions that has been created, and that is one of the key advantages, especially working within or for team working in Agile, and that adaptability in terms of taking that giant step into areas of unknown and adapting to those areas. And there's also another areas where we have that very high predictability for the Agile person or the team. They have the opportunity to be predictable, especially from the velocity point of view. And also there's a very reduced risk working in Agile or individual working in Agile, because they have that opportunity to reduce every risk around, because the team, they are constantly meeting, they are constantly collaborating, and constantly engaging. There's also that opportunity for the better communication, because the team have the opportunity to be meeting on a daily basis, to be collaborating in terms of how they have been progressing with the sprint goal on a daily basis. And if there's any impediment, these are the areas where they have the opportunity to highlight those areas for the Scrum Masters, obviously, to pick up. Outside of that, we have a very faster fixes of the solution. If there's any solution or any in-sprint defect that came out of the sprint, then they have the opportunity to do that. And outside of that, there's also what we call the decentralized communication. Communication is decentralized, and it's not from the top-down approach, because the team, they have that empowerment to take that decision themselves in terms of the approach, in terms of the steps, in terms of the processes, how they will improve those processes, because they are the key player within those frameworks. And we are looking at the process, the tool, and the people. So Agile cut across all those three elements. And it's also good to say that the bigger focus on the relationship building, because it's one of the key areas where working within the Agile, you have that constant relationship building, and also clearing, there's a clearer path to success, from time to time, having working back and forth, and there's that areas where the team, they have that clear path in terms of what they need to achieve and at what point, and they understand that journey in achieving those success. So I hope I've been able to
you've been able to
throw some light to that.
Yeah. From there, we can see a lot of advantages to becoming agile as a team or as an individual. You can see many things that will happen if we can adopt it, and that's why a lot of companies are really moving to that framework, because they've been able to see the advantages there. And compared to the waterfall, you once told us about waterfall. That was the time you did a training for us, compared to the traditional method of doing project management. We've been able to see that there are more advantages with the agile framework. Now, as an agile coach, what advice you have for us if we want to have a better performance compared to last year? Want to have a better performance? What advice you have for us?
Well, again, that is also a fantastic question. In terms of advice to improve that performance, there are a lot of key elements to that, especially if you look into the agile values, principles and values, especially the values. The team have a lot of, or individual have a lot of avenue to improve their performances, especially looking at, if you have very committed, that commitment to what you're doing, and that opportunity and ability to see the end goal of whatsoever that you're working on, or that you have planned. So that is one of the key elements. Outside of that, the courage, having that courage to go into an area of unknown, and having that courage to pick up and to speak out, and to ask questions to your team or to yourself, in terms of those questions that generate curiosity, that lift out any underlying questions. So these are some of the areas. And outside of that, again, you're having that focus. If you're focus-minded, you focus that, wow, okay, this is the goal that you've set, and you focus on achieving that goal. Come what may, obviously sometimes you have some impediments or roadblocks, but you having that ability to focus to ensure that you achieve, and to ensure that that value is carried out at the end. So that's one of the areas. And outside of that, we have the ability to be openness. When I say openness, if you are struggling as an individual, and you keep it to yourself, and you haven't got the opportunity to speak out or to ask for help. That part of openness in terms of when, even as a team, you working in an environment, you hit a roadblock, you speak out, especially through the Scrum Master, for instance, within the Scrum Master reach out to maybe the subject matter expert within the domain to say, okay, this is how you, this is the way to go. So especially openness coming around networking to see those key people that can really show you the direction. So these are some of the few areas you can see the value of working within the Scrum, which is also an advantage in a way as an individual or as a team to improve their performance rate.
Yeah, I really believe that. You know, one of the keywords that you said that jumped at me was courage. And I was talking to some people I met earlier. I was telling about the importance of courage, you know, to be bold, to go to maybe where we didn't go last year, the things we didn't do last year, we should try and do them this year. Courage is very important. You talked about focus. We have to be focus minded. We have to be open. We have to be, you know, sincere with ourselves. What didn't I do right last year? You have to say, okay, I didn't do this well last year, but this year I've learned from the mistakes I made last year, you know, and I'm not going to make those mistakes again. And I'm believing God that all of us, we're going to have a better year than last year. If last year was fantastic, it can be better also this year. And thanks so much for talking to us about, you know, this Agile framework, and from how you've been talking about it. For someone that just did the course and that just passed, I can see that it's all over you. You're just talking about all those principles, talking about all those values, and it's exciting, you know. And like you've been in this thing for about 10 years, you know. It's very, very exciting what we can achieve with this Agile framework. What's your closing remark for us today?
Well, closing remark is even as you're coming in as a fresher, or if you have been in the journey for many years, what I can say is there's also an avenue to continue to learn and grow. So learning and growing is part of the game. And also inspecting and adapting is also part of the game. As you are moving across into your journey, you inspect yourself. Am I doing the right? Am I on the right path? And you adapt to it. If you are on the right path, you adapt. If you are not, you become very flexible to go back and retrace your path. And it's also very important that learning is unending, and that knowledge is key aspect of this. As a new joiner, or anyone just coming in, as a fresh coming into Agile, sometimes it might be something is important to have that network of bodies of people around you that can really support you, that can really encourage you, and that can really impart their knowledge and show you the direction where you continue to add value. It's also important that sometimes if you are applying for role, if you are receiving any negative response or feedback from your recruiter, don't let that put you down, because it's part of the process. It's part of the process. During that process, this is where you continue to learn and you continue to grow. And so as long as you hang in there, to be very persistent and to be very committed into actualizing it, obviously that will again be a thing of the past, which will now become your success story. So it's really very important that continuous studies, continuous learning, engaging, networking, collaborating, and also doing a lot of research on the internet. There are a lot of key materials online that can really upskill individual that has just come in on board, and there are a lot of community of practice that can be that you can network with, and obviously it's very important that all these elements come together to really form a rolling ball to get you from your starting point into the destination.
Thank you so much for that. I just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this recording with me. I've really learned a lot, and I know my viewers have also learned a lot from you. And my viewers would like to hear from you. Any question you want to ask, be free to ask and drop your comment. And I hope to see you some other time. Wishing you a wonderful year ahead. See you next time. God bless you. Bye.
Thank you. God bless. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.